my lovelies. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Listen Closely with me, your host, Bobby, where I talk all things true crime, paranormal, dark history, extraterrestrial, and unexplained phenomenon right here in the Lone Star State. If you haven't already, make sure you're following me on all my social medias to get extra tidbits, articles, and anything related to the topics I discuss, as well as updates and special featurettes like those missing Mondays. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at HTT Listen Closely. Also, make sure you subscribe to me on your favorite streaming provider to be updated when new episodes are released. And if you happen to be listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave me those 5 stars and a review because it can only help. And if this is your first time listening, or if you're someone who's been listening for a while, thank you for tuning in every single week. We are now on season 5, and it is truly an amazing thing to have so many people starting to listen to me. It's kind of weird doing podcasts because you think, it's weird because you're basically talking to yourself, but it does get easier, and it's amazing when you start seeing those numbers come in and realizing people actually want to hear you. So thank you to all my loyal followers and people who just like hearing about these things. And always remember, you can listen to past episodes on those streaming providers. Simply go back and listen to all the ones. I definitely encourage you listening to them because some of these things tend to tie in together and they do pop up from time to time. So you may hear me reference certain things, like on this episode, I will be referencing some past stuff in the past episode. And so if you want to know more about how they're actually related or how I'm like comparing them, it might be good to go back and listen to that episode. And for this episode, we will be talking about Stagecoach Road in Marshall, Texas. So to give a little bit of background and a description of it, the historic portion of Stagecoach Road is an 8-mile stretch that begins at the end of East Popular Street in Marshall and comes out near Highway 43 in Karnak. The old Stagecoach route is a narrow dirt road that sometimes sits about 12 feet below the tree base levels. So before the Civil War, the Marshall-Shreveport Stagecoach line was the main means of transportation between the two towns and provided connections to many surrounding communities. It was established in about 1850 and operated by William Bradfield and his son John, and the Marshall-Shreveport Stagecoach line made 3 departures weekly from Marshall and continued to do so until its decline in the 1860s due to the Texas and Pacific Railroad. Now, as you know by now from previous episodes, this area was just dense forest and, just trees everywhere. So, of course, with that, there was a lot of logging companies that popped up and mill towns. And the best way to move these products and timber was through railroads. So we have a lot of railroads that were popping up and in and around this area. And some of those tracks are now pulled up or, they're just abandoned. But we still have railroads in this area, in all of East Texas, really. I mean, you can hear it sometimes in my podcast. You'll hear a train whistle behind me talking. Actually, there's one whistling right now that I hear, but I don't know if it's going to catch on the microphone. So, the railroad companies are just a major part of development for this area, and it continues to be huge for this area. So how did a road that was once just one of the key roads used to transport goods all of a sudden become a ghost road? Well, there's a lot of factors into that. First off, this road is really creepy because when you start to drive in it, which I said the road was about 12 feet below the tree base levels, so that means that it almost looks like it's carved into the ground. So when you go in, you just see walls of dirt, and not just any dirt, but red dirt. So you're just covered with these walls of red dirt, and then you also have those trees that are so close that it basically covers it like a canopy. So you're already just enclosed, and it just immediately changes the atmosphere. So it kind of engulfs you in. So that already can kind of creep some people out, especially on, I would say, more gloomy days. It's definitely already got the creepy vibes there. The next thing that makes it creepy are the stories. So like Bragg Road, again, they are both about 8 miles long, and within these 8 miles, some creepy stuff starts to happen. So there are claims that there is a woman in a long white dress walking the road. There are also claims of when you drive down it that there are children's handprints all along your vehicle that obviously were not there before, and there are no causes for it. And there's actually one story that I read that stated that there was once a voodoo queen who lived in Marshall. She once was in New Orleans but got chased out, moved to Marshall, and she sold her lucky amulets peacefully until one of Marshall's priests killed her on the side of Stagecoach Road, which is where we might start to see that woman in white kind of story popping up. And obviously, this is not the first time we've seen a woman in white. Sarah Jane Road has the woman in white. Bragg doesn't have one. They have, I mean, that's a very specific headless railroad worker, but you still start to see that woman in white kind of phenomenon. I mean, all over the world there are women in white kind of stories, and this road also had it. So I'm not sure if it was exactly the voodoo queen or if there's maybe another story tied to it. But supposedly nowadays, the voodoo queen can be seen wandering along the road under the full moon carrying shrunken heads, voodoo dolls, and just waiting to get her revenge on the town. Now, me and John have both been to Jefferson, and we were so close to Marshall, but we just didn't think to actually go down Stagecoach Road, or actually, we had to pass through Marshall for where we were going in Arkansas. So we didn't actually think about Marshall being this haunted road and, we should go down this road. But definitely next time that we take a trip or want to go somewhere, that's definitely on my list because I do want to see this. And I kind of want to see how the feeling compares to Bragg Road. We did go down Bragg Road actually for the first time during season 1 of our episodes. And, we've lived here our whole lives, never went down Bragg Road, so we went during the daytime. And, I mean, that alone was already kind of like it was kind of creepy / kind of just peaceful. Like, I just got this real peaceful feeling there while John just had a completely, he just wanted to get out. He was done. And then I went again at night with my father, and, we took cameras and stuff. And that, yes, there was definitely some eerie feelings. And we did encounter a light that we couldn't explain. So I wonder if we go to Stagecoach Road during the daytime, do we still get that same kind of creepy vibe? And especially John, who's a little bit more sensitive. Or is it just, again, just a peaceful feeling? And then again at night, do we then get the creepy feeling or what have you? I mean, again, this is a dirt road, which it just seems like all dirt roads, especially nowadays with, the industrial and, all the roads that we typically have. We don't encounter dirt roads as often, or at least most people don't. So it'd be interesting to kind of see how that exactly feels and how it compares. And if we do, I will definitely be posting videos. I will be posting updates, just anything I can on this. But definitely let me know what you think on this. Do you think it's a haunted road or are you just thinking it's all hype? I mean, this road is considered one of the spookiest, most haunted roads in Texas. There's only one other road that might be slightly more haunted, or according to some websites, might be slightly more haunted or, have different things. And it is not Bragg Road, and I will definitely be covering that road coming up soon. But yeah, definitely let me know what you think. Do you think it's haunted? Do you think it's all hype? Have you been down it? Did you experience anything? Let me know. Leave me comments on my Facebooks, Instagrams, anything. Message me, email me. Y'all have my email by now. httlistenclosely@gmail.com, or again, message me. All my social medias are open. And they're all at HTT Listen Closely. I made it super simple so anyone can find me. If you've experienced something, I definitely want to hear what you experienced or what you didn't experience. And I would like to share that if you allow me. I will not share anything unless you allow me. And of course, if you want to remain anonymous during all of that, I will definitely keep your name out of it. But I'm just curious, And even in Bragg Road, if you've gone down Bragg Road and you've experienced anything, let me know. And if you haven't, or you think, you have an explanation on why these roads are so creepy to people, let me know. I love when y'all come and talk to me and you give me your take on these things. And I know this was a shorter episode than normal, but I am gearing up for my 30th birthday that we will not be talking about on this because 30 is just one of those numbers that I don't feel like I'm 30. It's not really bad and I'm not scared of getting old or anything. I just don't feel it yet. So hopefully I don't get too caught up in party planning and, thinking about being 30 that I forget to post this. If I do, I apologize in advance, but I promise I'll be getting this episode out to you as soon as possible. But again, thank you so much for continuing to listen to me, continuing to support me. Thank you for every single one of you who has shared those Missing Monday posts and even my missing persons posts that are not on Mondays. I've had a couple families that came forward and said, "Hey, we need your help. We want you to share and spread the word." And I am just so thankful that they trust me to do this for them. And I definitely will always and continue to do this for families. So if you know anybody that you would like to find, or, a missing loved one or what have you, definitely reach out to me. I will help as much as possible. At HTT Listen Closely is how you can find me, or HTT Listen Closely at gmail.com. I am here for y'all. Thank you so much for always continuing to support me. Thank you to all my loyal people. As always, if you can only do one thing, always make sure that you listen closely.